This is the Fenrir Max, Dual's latest release designed specifically for fingertip grip. It has just launched, so I want to give you guys a quick first look at what it's all about and whether it might be worth your attention. At the time of this review, I do want to preface that I've only used the mouse for a couple days, and just a quick disclaimer, Dual did send me this mouse for review. I also picked up a retail unit myself. As always, everything I say here will be based on my own experience and opinion. Let's start with what you get in the box. It's a pretty complete package, and I've already unboxed everything, but here's the packaging art for those of you who want to see. Moving on, in the box you will receive the mouse itself, a bunch of extra dot skates, full-size skates, grip tape. You would get a hard shell carrying case, and also two USB-C cables with that. You get some dust covers you can place under the mouse. You get the 8K dongle. You get a sleeve. Do that real quick. Some basic sleeves with the finger holes. Some modeling clay. This clay can be used to reshape the mouse however you want. What it looks like. The manual and some NFC stickers. Now on to one of the most talked about aspects of this mouse, the weight. Dual's listed Fenrir Max at 22.4 grams. I'm assuming that's without the stock skates. As with the default 4-dot skates, mine came in around 23.5 grams. I've since swapped to 6 large J skates, and that brings the total up to 24 grams. Either way, it's the lightest wireless mouse I currently own, and yeah, at this point it basically feels like there's nothing in your hands. The mouse looks all balanced well, still leaning to a slightly more forward than a mid-balanced feel, but for me I much prefer that than the mouse being rear balanced. So moving on, despite the feather lightweight, the build quality is surprisingly great for something that is so light. I expected it to be a bit more flimsy, but that's not the case at all. It feels surprisingly solid in hands. There's some slight flex when squeezing the sides, and a bit more on the bottom, but none of that is noticeable during actual use. There's also no noticeable wobble with the buttons or the scroll wheel, which adds to the overall solid feel. So all around, I'm pretty satisfied with the build quality for now. I can't tell how it will hold up in the future, but right now, in the present, it feels great. That brings us to what's arguably the most important part of any mouse, the shape. The Fenrir Max takes clear inspiration from the original HSK Pro, but it's noticeably larger across the board, wider, with a taller hump, and it has higher click height, which is more in line with standard mice. These changes result in a more stable and balanced design that still caters to a fingertip grip user, but in a way that feels much more accessible to those who haven't tried a mouse like this. Overall, it's a safer, more universally usable shape, especially for those who might have found the original HSK Pro too small. When compared to other fingertip mice I own, it sits right between the mighty MM8K and the Pulsar X2F. Striking a nice balance between the two. It feels safer than the MM8K, which sometimes can feel a bit too narrow and cause some hand cramping over time. At the same time, it avoids going as large as the X2F, which comes off as more of a generalist shape that doesn't fully commit to a fingertip grip use. For me, the Fenrir Max hits that sweet spot, purposefully built for fingertip grip and genuinely feels comfortable with my 18x9 hands, even during extended use. There's also the clay included in the box, which lets you reshape any part of the shell, such as maybe extending the pinky area for more comfortable grip. Personally, I don't see much appeal in using this since it adds extra weight, but it's there for those who want to experiment with it or find some part of the mouse uncomfortable. Now, from what I can tell, the Fenrir Max doesn't actually have any coating. Instead, it relies on the golf ball-like texture to provide grip. With my drier hands, there hasn't been much of an issue, but I can definitely see it become slippery for users with sweatier hands, especially when it gets warmer. To address this, G-Wolves includes grip tape in the box, and to their credit, it's one of the better stock grip tapes out there, so it's a bit on the thicker side. But what I find odd though is the design choices here. Duo seems to have skipped the coating to save a couple of grams, yet most users will end up applying grip tape anyway, which adds those grams right back. So that's something to think about. Duos have also recently claimed that the decision was made for more environmental reasons, suggesting that spraying coating contributes to pollution. Whether that's the full story or just a convenient explanation, I'll leave that for you to decide. Overall, I personally don't have an issue with the lack of coating, but might be problematic for some others. Here's where I ran into the biggest issue with this mouse. While the stock skates 100% PTFE, they don't feel great in use. They're quite slow and controlled, which isn't ideal if you prefer faster and smoother glide like me. On top of that, the skates are relatively small. So if I compare it to the Jades, look how small they are. So when you press down the mouse, they can make contact with the mouse pads, creating unnecessary friction. So I highly recommend swapping them out either to the large full-size G-Wolf skates included in the box, or something like the J-Dot configuration I've got here, which has really worked well. Main clicks are great on this mouse. G-Wolf uses the Huano Blue Shell blink dots, which I'm not usually a fan of, but the implementation here is excellent. The clicks feel sharp and light with a well-balanced actuation force regardless of where you press. There's some pre-travel on both buttons, and minimal post-travel, but nothing that detracts from the overall feel. The side buttons are solid, they have a crisp response with moderate pre-travel and minimal post-travel. Their placement feels natural and easy to reach, though I do think they could be slightly larger for improved usability. As for the scroll wheel, it has well-defined steps and a light smooth feel, something that pairs nicely with such a lightweight mouse. My only minor complaint is that the wheel sits a bit recessed into the shell. A slightly more pronounced design could have made it even better. Performance wise, I'm not diving into latency tests or polling rate stability. I don't have the tools to measure those accurately, and frankly, I don't think they're all that relevant anymore. These days, most mice perform extremely well out the box, unless there's glaring issues, and I didn't experience anything like that with the Fenrir Max. As for the battery life, at 1K polling rate, it lasted around 2 days for me, which isn't particularly impressive. I suggest sticking to 1K rather than pushing with the higher polling rates, just to preserve some battery. It seems like this is one of the trade-offs you have to accept to hit that ultra lightweight design. If you weren't already aware, Duos now uses a web-based software, like many other peripheral companies, and it works quite well. It covers all the essentials with a clean and easy to navigate interface. You've got options for click debounce timing, polling rate, lift-off distance, which range from 1mm to 2mm, sleep timer, DPI settings, and battery life monitoring. One interesting addition is the sensor angle setting, a feature aimed at users who hold their mouse at an angle. It helps correct your movement so that your horizontal and vertical tracking remains straight, even if your grip isn't. Personally, I hold my mouse straight, so it didn't make a noticeable difference for me, but it's a thoughtful addition for those who need it. Duos is also experimenting with a mobile app version of the software, allowing you to tweak your settings directly from your phone. Although it costs $4.99 on the App Store, and honestly, I don't see it as a necessity, since you'll only be using your mouse while you're on your PC, so what would be the point of taking your phone out when you can just do it straight from the computer? So I believe the web-based driver is more than sufficient for making any adjustments. The phone app is a cool feature, but not essential. To conclude, at $159, the Fenrir Max is definitely on the pricier side. But to Duo's credit, they do include quite a lot in the box: extra skates, grip tape, clay, and a solid overall package. More importantly, they're one of the only companies truly innovating in this space, pushing boundaries with ultralight builds and unique purposefully driven shapes, designed specifically for fingertip grip use. So I would say if you're after the lightest wireless mouse available right now, with a shape that actually feels designed for fingertip grip rather than just adapted to it, Fenrir Max is absolutely worth considering. And if you do decide to pick one up, you can use my code Zervesta at checkout to get $10 off. With that guys, I would like to say this is my 5th video in a 2-week period, so I might not upload for a week, but I do have a few other peripherals I want to review, so I'll show them on screen now and let you decide in the comments which one you would like to see next. And with all that, thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you wish to see more reviews from me. It does help the channel a lot.